It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way that things will really go with Sandra. And some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but soon they will realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend with Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
If you're a parent right now, you already know the cost of living has gone up. Rent, childcare, grocery. When the cost of living rises, government must rise to meet it. And we have. Under the revised ECAP policy, our Early Childhood Assistance Program, we've increased funding to keep pace with what families are actually paying today for their children's early education. Who benefits? A father working every hour he can. A single mother doing it alone. A grandparent raising grandchildren they love. Maybe that's you. Up to 235 Caymanian children will benefit directly, and I want every single one of them to have the start they deserve. That is why we're here. If you've applied before and been disappointed, I encourage you to try again. If you've never applied because you assumed you wouldn't qualify, now is the time to find out. And if the funding didn't feel like enough before, it should now. Is your child 3 years old and Caymanian? You may qualify. Visit us at moeapplications.gov.ky and apply for the 2026-2027 academic year.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning. Uh-oh, where's my microphone? Can people actually hear me? Oh, there we go. There we go. There's a slight delay there in the microphone. Hi, good morning. How are you doing, beautiful? Yes, I'm talking to you sitting behind that steering wheel, thinking to yourself, just a few more days, and these kids are going to be out of school. I'm going to be so happy. No more morning traffic. It's going to be nice. But then you've got to find something for those kiddos to do during the summer. And guess what? There are lots of amazing camps going on. Yes. However, they do cost money. I'm just saying. I'm looking at them and thinking to myself, let's pick and see which ones can work. Because boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah. But there are a lot of fun camps, I must say, that actually are on. So get them registered. The good ones always go early. And there's some that are really reasonably priced. So I must say, check those out. We've got some great ones, actually. YMCA is doing a bunch of camps, Ministry of Sports, the Department of Sports doing a lot of amazing camps as well. I think we mentioned some of those last week when they were on. Some are starting to fill up, so by all means, make sure that you get registered. Get the kids registered, yeah. Okay. Yay. Let me see here. That file is too large. Ooh. Okay. Got to look at my file compression options here this morning. But other than that, we're going to talk about a little bit of Parliament this morning. Someone just messaged me, said, oh, Sandy, things were getting hot. And I was like, really? Let me hear what they were getting hot about. Adjournment. I'm like, excuse me? Excuse me. Adjournment? Are you people kidding me? Grow up. Don't want to adjourn. Some people want to adjourn. Oh, it's getting a hot debate. What? You got to be kidding me. Nonsense. Absolute nonsense. If you're going to fight over something, and obviously there will be times of disagreement, let's do it over the important stuff, right? The issues that the people of the Cayman Islands care about. I'm going to be honest with you. I do see where they go for these really, really long marathon segments. And I guess that's why they don't have Parliament frequently, because they're there 12 plus hours a day. And, most of them are sitting down. I got someone have to tell them we're going to be starting the Cold Hard Truth Boot Camp. Because they're sitting down during that whole time. And I can't imagine that's good for them. They need to get up and start running around the Parliament floor or something. Take a jog around Georgetown Central at night. But anyway, I was a bit surprised that firecrackers were going off. Apparently, I didn't hear it, but firecrackers are going off around adjournment. I thought, okay. Okay, right. Makes no sense. So we'll talk about a break in motion that passed last night. And I think that will be perhaps a bit of good news for a lot of you. So the original motion was brought by member of the opposition, Perlina Maga Lumsden. And she basically, let me just pull up the article here because I know CMR had reported on it. Her motion was asking for an increase in the duty allowance. So as most of you know, I think you know this, when residents, which includes Caymanians, travel abroad, we get a duty allowance. So in other words, you go do your shopping, a certain amount is duty free. That's, you go pick up your little clothing supplies and whatever. And sometimes people think that it certainly depends on what it is, that it's actually cheaper to take a little trip to purchase your stuff. Well, it depends. Sometimes I've sat and I've done the math in my head. And what I would say is it really does depend on what you're spending, what the intent of the trip was, and then, it makes sense. So, for example, if you're going away just to shop for a particular thing, and I've seen some people do this, like, oh, Sandy, I need a car part. And the car part is going to be, I don't know, $900, $1,200 in Cayman. I can go and get it for $300. All right. But then I say to them, well, let me hear the other details of the trip. How much is a ticket? Okay. Because you got to factor that in. You can't fly in Cayman Airways for free. Are you renting a car? Are you taking an Uber? How is it then that you're getting around? So people say, righty-ho, I've got to rent a car for the day. Okay. So factor that in. You're going to eat, which, I mean, if you're in Cayman, you're going to eat anyway. But you may eat more out. So that's going to cost you money. If you were here, you might have home-cooked food. You know what I mean? So, okay. Are you staying overnight? Are you literally just going in to pick up the part, 1-day trip, in and out, and that's it? You see, these are the details a lot of people don't want to talk about. Because, and listen, the chances of you going to Miami to pick up a car part, like one item, and that's it, is probably slim to none. You got to find a reason to go in a Walmart. And then next thing you know, you're spending money that you didn't have. So I'm like, what was the true cost of the trip to you, right? Was it just the car part? No, it's the car part plus ticket price plus, food potentially, and then additional spending that you would not have had you not gone to pick up the part. So you got to think about it. And then does it make sense? Now listen, if you have a certain degree of disposable income, and I think that this is where, this is where this kind of makes sense perhaps, is if you have a certain amount of disposable income and you were kind of needing a trip anyway for other reasons, like, oh, I just need a mental break. I need to do traffic on the other side of the road, stuff like that. Because sometimes you just need to get away. And you can afford to go. It's not going to be stretching your budget. Chances are you probably could have, just said, buy that part here because you could afford it. Yes, it pains you to know, that you have to spend it. And you think to yourself, man, I could get this 30% cheaper, 40% cheaper had I purchased in the States. I know the feeling. You're like, why is the pricing of certain things? That's because people control the market still. It depends on what it is. And, smart consumers shop around. They're not going to just be like, oh, I'm just going to pay whatever. They're like, hold on. Let me check the pricing. I do it all the time. Big shout out to A.L. Thompson's, by the way. Had to go in there yesterday to look at appliances and stuff. And one thing with them is their pricing is very, very competitive. In fact, a lot of times I find items cheaper at A.L. Thompson's than I do on Amazon. Yep. So they can be very, very competitive. And I love how they have the little barcode scanners. I don't know if those are intended for the public, but I know I use them. I think we can use them. Where you can barcode scan something and just check the pricing on it. Yeah. And so oftentimes their pricing is competitive. Not every single thing. I guess it depends on who they buy it from. But I tell you what, a lot of times I've been really surprised. It's either pretty much the same price, just with the conversion, that 20% difference, right? In US dollars. Or there have been times when I've actually found it cheaper at Ale Thompson's. And I'm like, ooh, honey chow, got myself a deal. So, shop around. It's much easier now to do that. You can barcode scan items to compare. Amazon app has that function right in the app. You barcode scan something, it'll pull it up so that you know it's the exact same item. You're comparing apples to apples. There was some locks some months ago that I had to purchase. And when I was compare pricing around, the person said, "Are you sure that that's the same lock?" And I said, "Honey, I scanned the barcode." So the barcodes are a universal way of, tracking product for product. So, right, another product isn't going to be using the same barcode. So I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And I invited them to use the Amazon app to do the same thing. And they were like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. That's a cool feature." So if you have the money to travel, this is kind of how I think about it too. You have to budget in and have the money for these other things, right? So I know people now, summertime is here. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to go on a trip with the kids." 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, whatever amount you got. Traveling is never cheap. Believe me, you. When I travel, I'm thankful I only got the one. That is one of those times that I'm just like, oh, praise the Lord. I can't imagine having 4 to buy airplane tickets, food, accommodations. When you guys travel with like 4 kids and 2 adults, how do you split the accommodations? Do you all stay in one room? Because even with a king size hotel, that's a lot of people. You see, now you can tell that Sandy and I used to know pile of people up in her house. Because I would be like, no. Do you have to get a second room? So I don't know. Tell me what you guys and how you guys do this, because I am curious. I've always kind of wondered, do you actually get more than one room with kids? Because then you'd be worried about them, especially if they're, any age really, but especially the younger they are. Okay. Well, so you've got all these additional expenses, and of course, a lot of people are like, well, we just want the kids to be able to go away for a couple days, maybe a week, and have a little vacation. So that means that you're going to hopefully plan some activities for them other than shopping. And Canadians, honey child, the second their little toes hit Miami, they're like, "Oh, shopping, here we come, honey child." Yep, they're all into it. Let's go to Walmart. Let's go to Target. All the hot spots. And so every kid wants their shopping money. How are you guys handling the shopping money now? Are you making them do what we had to do back in the day? Like I would go around and pick up cans and do recycled cans. So you guys make your kids earn their money? Tell me about that one. Do they have spending money, or do you just, if they see something and you agree to buy it, you're buying it? Are you trying to have them understand how money works? Because, in this day and age, kids are all sorts of confused, those poor things. They're like, just tap a card. How many times my daughter's like, "Oh, just take out your card and tap it." And I said, do you know that there's a bank account attached to that has to have money in it? What's that? What does that mean? I'm like, yeah, you're not just tapping a card, right? Money has to be there. And how do you get money? You have to work. So are you allowing your kids to earn money by doing chores, by doing extra chores, doing activities. We've got some kids in the neighborhood. I want to do a big shout out to Jessica. Her kids, in particular, her daughter. I love her business hustle. That little girl has got a hustle on her. She's always finding something to sell, making mango jam, making, oh gosh. What else does she do sometimes? Lemonade, cookie. I don't think has she done cookies? I don't know if she's done cookies, but she's done mangoes, mango jam, lemonade, probably cupcakes, stuff like that. Yeah. So always something fun. And I like it, right? Have your kid ever had a lemonade stand? My daughter's always asking when she can go to work. She's like, can I get a job? How old do I have to be? And I keep telling her, your job right now is called school. Focus on that. Put some effort into that. Because you can't go on people's job if you don't know what 2 + 2 is. That is simply not going to work. You got to know how to count money. There's lots of things that you've got to know how to do. So do kids have summer jobs now other than bagging groceries? Because I know y'all love to send your kids to Foster's to bag groceries. Everybody's like, that's the holy grail of jobs for kids because they make good money with tips and stuff like that. But I'm curious as to what else you got your kiddos doing. All right, so the motion then brought by Perlina, MP Perlina McGaw, my apologies, Lumsden, was to increase the duty to $1,000. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, okay, but is this the most pressing motion right now? I mean, everybody, I'm not going to, doubling it, I'm not going to be like, oh no, let's not do that. I'm like, okay. But does that help somebody who's really struggling? Because if you're really struggling, your backside shouldn't be in Miami shopping anyway. I'm just saying. So tell me. Anyway, I think most people were somewhat supportive of it. They're like, all right, whatever. It does mean less revenue potentially for government. But the government then had Ms. Julie Hunter from West Bay West speak to it. And, this was the part that I caught where she was essentially saying what the government would be putting forward and what they'd be getting cabinet to pass. So here we have it. Let me just pull it up here to give you the details. Yes. All right. So she was asking for the $1,000. She didn't quite get that long term. However, what they agreed to was $1,000 essentially during the summer months. So now until August. So that's when most Caymanians will find the opportunity to travel with their children, take them away. They're buying school uniforms, school supplies. Although a lot of school supplies are actually duty free. So there is that, which is good. Your notebooks and stuff like that are all duty free. So the long-term duty free waiver concession is now going to go from $500 to $800. Remember during the Christmas season, I think it was, they temporarily increased it as well to, I want to say $1,000. So there are times that they increase it on a temporary basis. So now permanent increase to $800. And that's 800. I noticed it didn't say the currency, but I think it's always in KYD. So that's a little bit more in US. And yes, you can get a lot for $800, honey child. You just got to know how to shop. You know what I'm saying? I should do a shopping class. Shopping on a budget. Go to, especially with clothes. Oh my gosh, I can find some bargains in clothing. Let me tell you something. Oh yeah. Yep. $10 dress, $10 outfit. So this person says clothing, shoes, etc., not duty free, also helps with technology like iPads, laptops, and so on. Yep. When are they having the tax-free week in Miami or in the States, Florida? Because I got to make my travel arrangements around. Somehow I always seem to accidentally find it. But I think this year I better try and plan that time. Let me just check it out. Hold on. Tax-free. Because that's a good way to save too. Let's see. Florida 2026. Because normally they do it for back to school stuff. So you get clothing, footwear, backpacks under $100, school supplies under $50, computers and laptops for a specific threshold, disaster preparedness, freedom summer / tools. So that's some recreational stuff. So if you kind of plan your trips around these dates, why don't I not see it for 2026? They have to 2025. They have 2025, but not, they don't have it for this year. When is it happening this year? Huh. Strange. Okay. But I do seem to catch it a lot, probably because I tend to travel more like in August anyway. I'm going to try to find it because I'm not finding it on the Department of Revenue sale tax holiday website. Okay, I just found it at another website. It's going to be July the 20th through August the 20th. It's an entire month. Florida's back to school tax-free weekend is running for a whole month from July 20th through August 20th. So you're going to save all month long on clothes, uniforms, shoes, computers, and so on. So awesome. So I am in for that. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I tend to catch it because normally I'll do a little getaway, especially for Gigi's birthday, which is in August as well as mine. So it started out as a tax-free weekend, and then it was expanded to 14 days. And now it has been extended to an entire month-long window each year. So this is great. I like that it's a month because, you know, you don't have to go rushing to shop and get everything in one weekend, right? You can kind of spread it out over that time. All right. So they just passed it here in June, and it's going to be official once the bill is signed by the governor. Fantastic. Okay. So, yep, that's your time to stock up on your little stuff. This year, I definitely have to buy school supplies because not school supplies, but clothing. Not every year do I buy clothing because my daughter doesn't really grow that much. Yeah, she's one of those kids. Very fortunate. We're not seeing major growth spurts. She's getting taller, I suppose. But, you know, the uniforms still fit and stuff like that. but they're getting shorter. So now we have to try and do something about it. Let's talk about the length of these school uniforms for a second. I see you guys complaining. And Abby says that only helps the rich who can afford to fly. Well, Abby, I hear you and I agree with you to a certain extent, because I always think you only travel if you can afford it, right? But girl, you know Caymanians, they travel whether they can afford it or not. Caymanians are the best. They be going off on medical leave, getting all kind of surgeries and treatments and whatever, and they gotta find themselves to Walmart in a wheelchair. That should be a new marketing slogan for them. Walmart in a wheelchair. So they're gonna still find their way there, even if they can afford it or not. Trust and believe me, where there's a will, there's a way. Your post says July, August, and December, not saying September included. So what's it? Huh? Let's get the details. Hold on a second, honey chill. So they're doing the summer months, July and August. Kids are back in school. Normally, and I don't know that the motion spoke specifically to December, but normally the government will do something around Christmas time. That's been happening for the last couple of years anyway. So they'll give you a little increase during Christmas time for your Christmas shopping. So the government has suggested raising the allowance to $1,000 for July, August, and December. The months when Caymanian families travel the most, while keeping the increase at $800 for the rest of the year. So what's the question? You want September? Yeah. Well, why would September be included? Because remember, between August and December, there's September, October, November. There's a whole 3 months that isn't included. So, yep. I mean, listen, it's government revenue. So on the one hand, I want y'all to understand how government revenue works. If government loses money in one area, I see I need to adjust my camera down a little bit. I'm in a different position today. If government loses money in one area, they're going to get it back. You comprehend that, right? Okay. Something else can go up. So please understand how it actually works. Government is not in the business of losing revenue. Just saying. Oops. So they're willing to give us a bit of a concession on this. For a couple months. And then they're going to increase it to $800. I think that's fair. You know, yeah, I'm all right with that. $800 CI, that's what? How much is that in US dollars? That can buy you a lot if you know how to shop, especially when it comes to clothing in particular. I'm into bargain shopping when it comes to clothing. You will seldom see me paying full price for clothing anymore. I don't care. I'm like, no. They're making this in some sweatshop in Bangladesh, which, by the way, I was watching one such video last night. I had no idea that those poor people in Bangladesh were so impoverished from the perspective that, I mean, I know it's a poor country. They have the highest, for a large city, they have the highest people per square mile, or however they determine population density. I mean, that place looks, I look at it and I don't really see any redeeming qualities of, like, if you wanted a vacation there. I'm not so sure it's that kind of place. Maybe they have a few spots. I mean, most countries do. But God, the air pollution, the pollution in that country reduces their lifespan by at least 7 years. Air pollution, all sorts of stuff. But of course, they were talking about the garment business and how something like 7 point something percent of all clothes around the entire world, which is considered a large amount, is actually made in Bangladesh. And the way that they make your clothes, if you ever saw the process, how they add the dye, how they're like slapping around in the ground in the mud, and you'd probably never buy a piece of clothing. If you knew how clothes start, you'd be like, oh my God. But of course, we don't think about it much. But those poor people are taking in all these chemicals. They're not using gloves. There's like no safety measures in place. Absolutely nothing. And yeah, it's worse than a sweatshop. Like what they do is like crazy to make clothing for the world. So there you go. Morning, Shamika. Thanks very much. So it's from July 20th through August the 20th, which I think is really good. So, you know, when I see things like that, it reminds me of precisely why I do not want to pay full price for clothing. Because these clothing manufacturers, these companies, now I'm also not going to be shopping at Shein or whatever it's called, because they're like the cheapest of the cheap. And so their stuff is made in a very different way. But to go pay $150, $200 for a top just to say, oh, this is a Christian Dior top. Who gives a cahoots? Nobody cares. No one cares what the label says. I remember one time I met a young lady from Jamaica. I was when I was doing the PPC at law school, we had a debate conference, and it just happened to be in my old stomping ground, my old hometown of Florida, Tampa specifically. And I was like, oh, this is great, because I know my way around Tampa, honey chill. I'm like, I'll catch y'all later. And there were Caribbean people. So people from Norman Manley Law School. So she went to Norman Manley. Why am I hearing this pinging noise? What is that coming from? And so she was from Norman Manley and very, very bougie. One of them. Every once in a while, I still hail her up on Facebook. Bless her little heart. Now she's married. She's got a kid. Life goes on. So anyway, she was not liked in the group. And I kind of felt like they were picking on her a little bit, you know, white Jamaican. Yeah, she was a little bougie, but I was like, whatever. She was still a really nice person. And so when the other Caribbean islanders were like, oh, we don't like her. Like, it didn't take them long to like, we don't like her. And it was kind of cliquish. Like, we weren't there for that long. It was like a week. And by day 2, they were already putting her in a very different category. And I was like, listen, she's one of us. All right. Yeah, she's a little bit bougie and different, whatever. But does it really matter? I mean, come on now. I was like, y'all can do better than this. Right? We don't have to be mean girl about it. But one of the observations I made about her is she did not, and I mean did not, know how to shop, like bargain shop. And I was like, girl, oh, we have to go to the mall. And I said, okay, I worked in the mall. That was when I was in university. Those were my jobs. I worked in Units, which was a clothing store in the mall. I've worked in a jewelry store. So I know a lot about the jewelry business and how they get you. Ooh, honey child. These diamonds that we paying for, if you only knew how they get the diamonds, where they get the diamonds, the true cost of diamonds versus the markup. De Beers talking about a diamond is forever. We've all bought into that little rock on your finger meaning so much more than it really should. So I said, well, what do you need to go to the mall for specifically? Because we were like mapping out, I was like, okay, because like I said, I was the only one who had a vehicle and they all wanted to all of a sudden be my best friend because they all wanted to ride. I was like, okay, let's plan it out. Where are we going? What are we going to do? What are we going to the mall for? And she's like, oh, I need to go to Ann Taylor and this one, that one. I was like, and you Ann Tayloring because you need these stores because I can take you to the outlet stores that have the Ann Taylor, right? And you still getting stuff, might be last season stuff, but you still getting, no. She wanted I'm like, girl, can I introduce you to a TJ Maxx, a Ross, or Marshalls? No, I didn't know anything about those. And I said, well, you got to learn here today. I said, come, let's go. Shop with me. I'm going to show you. And you see, there's a pattern, like when you go in there, but you see, she's like, I can't find anything when I go in there. And I said, that's because you don't know how to look. You got to know from a merchandising perspective. And it probably helps that I've worked in retail and I know a little bit about American merchandising, right? So I'm like, this is where they set up certain deals. And this is, even when you go to Costco, you look for that little star symbol at the top. That means that that's the last time they're going to get that product. That's rock bottom price. You better grab it if you want it, honey child, because that's the best price you're going to get. So you got to know how to shop around. Jewelry, if you want jewelry, and I mean nice jewelry, do not go and shop in the mall for jewelry. The same people that owns Zales own who you think is their competitor. What's the other company called that's in the mall? They're all the same company, owned by the same parent company. So you're not going to get as much as you think. The best place to buy jewelry, if price is your primary concern, is actually a place like Costco. I know y'all are thinking, what the heck? Who buys jewelry at Costco? Have you ever gone to the jewelry segment in Costco? Go look at their jewelry cases. Go on their website and have a look. Some straight up really, really good deals. Same quality diamonds. Now, where you might have a variation and a difference is going to be in the, K Jewelers. Okay, we're going to give you can come in and do regular servicing and whatever. But when you're not living there, none of that stuff matters to you. You're not concerned about servicing. You're not taking that ring in. You're going to take it to David here and make David clean it for you. Right? So you got to know how to shop around a little bit and how to help yourself with a bargain. Yeah. Anyway, by the time I finished with her that week, honey child, she was finding all of her name brand items for decent pricing. And she couldn't believe it. She's like, wow, I don't know about these stores. I said, well, I can't blame you for what you don't know, but now you know. So, yeah, get on it. Because when you grew up a particular way, where maybe for her people in Jamaica, they live up in the hills, they didn't have to worry about pricing of anything. They had the money to buy whatever they wanted, whenever they wanted, like it was cool. But there's nothing wrong with a bargain, honey child. Like I said, especially with clothing. There's certain things that just doesn't make any sense to spend a bag of money on. The more you know about how it works, the more you're like, why? Something I was watching yesterday, the day before, like one item, say it's like, I don't know, $30 to make these expensive labels, and they charge over $2,000 for that same handbag or whatever. They're ripping people off. Talking about, oh, I want red bottom shoes. You look like you want red bottom shoes. You better go paint that ish on yourself. Stop wasting your money on foolishness. And you can buy good quality items. I'm not saying, because like I said, there is a limit, right? So I don't, especially with shoes, I don't buy cheap shoes. I don't believe in buying cheap shoes, but that also does not mean that I am going to go and purchase a $500 pair of shoes either. It's not necessary. Right? All right. So you get your little extra duty allowance. So this is good. Check it out. Good morning, Mr. Amelia. Let's talk about these skirts that our daughters have to wear to school. First of all, I wish they only had pants. Squirks, because they have little shorts underneath. Do they have squirks when they reach middle and high school? Are they still squirks by then? I sure hope so. I know for the little kids, they're squirks. So last year I bought some new skirts, right? But like I said, my daughter doesn't grow a lot, so I have to get the ones with the adjustable waist. The school makes recommendations. I think they were using Land's End, where you can go online and order. I try to find some on Amazon. They're not always that easy to find. Then you can, now they have a school uniform store here. But I don't care which one of these stores you go to. I find that the skirt length is too short. And I feel a way about this. Because y'all know Aunt Lottie, you wasn't wearing no short stuff around her. Oh, hell no. She was very, very particular. Yeah? So I ensured that with my daughter, I try and find as long as I can. But the problem is, once again, they're not coming down to the knees anymore. So I hear you guys complaining about it. I'm like, oh, these girls, especially in private school, walk around in short shorts. I'm not so sure it's their fault as much as the manufacturer of these clothes. Yeah? Are simply not making them long enough. I've experienced it. So there's a uniform store in Tampa. If you guys go to Tampa, there is a uniform store in Tampa that is on, I think it's down Maybury, but don't hold me to it. So we had to drive. Last time I asked her cousins to take me there to look for her uniform shorts. And, the skirts, I'm trying to find ones that are longer. And I kept sending ones back. Nope, send that one back. Send that one back. That's too short. Tell me where to find the khaki uniform skirts that come down to the knee. And of course, the kids, they don't mind them being short because then they come off as shorts. They're like, oh no, I can run around more. And I'm like, no, those are the days that you wear your shorts because they get shorts, they get pants, and they get the squirks. But they only ever want to wear the squirks, the ones that look like the skirts, but they have a little short underneath. So if you guys have any recommendations, let me know. Because this year we got to buy some new uniforms. So yeah, it's very, very expensive. All right, let me see here. Hi, Sandy. Can you please give a birthday shout out to Fidel Castro Christian from his family, friends, and the Little K-Mad crew, 63 years old today? Oh, sure. But I got to tell you, the picture that you sent of him, it shows his dog more than it shows him, unless the dog's name is Fidel. And I doubt he's 63 years old. Oh, my goodness. Let me see here now. Yes, we will definitely give Fidel a shout out. This is the picture that they sent. I'm like, the dog is the one who's being featured in this photo. Really cute. No problem. Big happy birthday, Senor Fidel Castro Christian. I mean, his parents actually named him Fidel Castro. That's crazy. They must have been a real fan. Morning, Philip, joining us from Hollywood, Florida. I was thinking about you this morning. Hope you're doing okay. Real Deal says, I buy parts for my vehicle or appliances. A specific part I bought in Cayman for a washer costs $89 KYD. On Amazon, I land the same part for $48. That includes duty and all other fees. Yep. I mean, I think when you're getting into the 30% plus, then it kind of makes sense to probably source it if you can. And sometimes it is really, really difficult to source stuff overseas. But yeah, I mean, listen, Amazon has, by the way, Prime deals are on. So let me encourage you to go now and start shopping for Prime Day. Some things are going to be all 50% off. So you're going to get some good deals. Here's a mascara that I use. It's 20% off. So what I'm going to do, it says deals on your past purchases, right? Ooh, one item is 47% off. What is this one item? Pre-workout supplement. Oh, that was not for me. I don't know who I was buying that for, but anywho. So this one is 20% off. So basically I save $4 on my mascara. So I'll order that, ship it to our cousins, and then they can just hold on to it until I can get it. Ooh, look at this one. This is a multi-purpose dry oil. It makes your skin very radiant. This one is kind of on the expensive side because it's from Paris, okay? From Paris, and it was very highly rated. And I have dry skin, so oils I use on my skin. So that's on sale, 25%. So instead of paying $29.50, I can now pay $22.10. That same oil, anytime I go into like a TJ Maxx or a Ross or whatever, I look for these oils because sometimes I can find them in there for all $7 and $8. And then Amazon has it for like 20-something dollars. Oh God, my berberine is on sale. That's expensive. I haven't been taking it lately. I got to get back and taking it. So Amazon has the deals on right now. I'd be looking for Amazon coupons, which for the longest time, I'm hitting purchase and didn't even see the coupon option. You would think a big retailer like Amazon would just tell you when there's automatically apply the coupon. No, they don't. They want your finger to do the work and just click an extra little click box right behind it. And then look at them. They'll be putting it in fine print. So here's if you guys want a good vitamin, get this one. This is recommended to me. And whenever I feel like I'm coming down with something, I start taking it, and it really is amazing. So it's a liquid organic vitamin immune supplement, right? So right now it's $49. But if I click that little box underneath it, I can save basically $8 with the coupon. It's wild how they don't just give you the coupon price. But anyway, you got to pay attention. So now I'll be looking for coupons. There's some that you can click off. There's some that you tick the box, clip off virtually. Okay. So here's another one, my Healthy Skin vitamin E. That's these little serums here. I always have them on my desk because sometimes I open them and I just put the vitamin E on. It's vitamin E and aloe vera moisturizer. On sale from $11 to $8.99. So even Amazon has on sales right now, sale things. So, if you know you're going to go in August, this is why I maintain a mailbox in the States. And I'll just start ordering stuff from now, getting the deals when they're available. Yep. So I can't remember which berberine I was getting. I think it was this one that's so expensive. $54, basically $54.99, call it $55. Berberine is really good for people who are trying to keep their glucose level in check. You take it a couple times a day. All right. So I guess I'm going to add that one to my cart. Ugh, Lord Jesus. Oh, they have my Soothing Nerve Lotion on sale. Yes, thanks. They have this Kojic Acid Turmeric Dark Spot Remover. So, if some of you have, you break out and you get the acne, people of color can also get the dark spots afterwards. That's good for that. Anyway, this is a time to shop on Amazon because they have Prime Day deals. And they even start the Prime Day deals early. So you should check it out. Okay. Lots of good deals. I'm looking. Ooh, the magnesium that I use is also on sale. That's 30% off. That's a good deal. Vitamins, like the good ones, are so expensive. Oh my gosh. Tea tree shampoo is on sale. Honey chill. Oh, I see my lavalier mic isn't on sale though. Huh. All right. Look for your bargains now. Ship them and just have them stay at a mailbox or something. If you got friends there. This is a really good price. This pillowcase is now on sale from $31.99 to $19.99, 38% off. It's a special kind of neck pillow that I've been using now to help with my frozen shoulder. Yep, not a bad price. Vaseline lip therapy, that's not on sale. That's a multi-pack. So, look around. It makes sense for you to try to get a little bargain where and when you can. Good morning, caller. Hello? Oh, hold on. No, it says, what's up, audio connecting. Oh, that's what's up. Hasn't yet connected. Let me know when you're ready, honey chill. Still connecting. You might be in a bad spot. That happens sometimes. I also tell my content creators, for example, to, have a look at the deals for themselves, because sometimes they're in the market for like microphones and stuff. So here I see a light is on sale from basically $100 to $60. That's a good deal. Caller, your phone is just not connecting. WhatsApp does that sometimes. Keep calling back is probably not going to help that problem. You need to find a different location. Okay. Yep. Alrighty. Yes. Okay. So, good. December's included. Hey, Christopher Bryan, Mr. Chris. Anthony, good morning, sir, says that duty break idea does nothing for the real cost of living pressure people face every day, every month. Airfare and fuel are already through the roof. And the World Cup season just pushed hotels and transport even higher. The folks who can afford to travel this summer aren't the ones needing relief. Meanwhile, families here are still staring at inflated grocery bills, rent, and utilities. More duty breaks means less government revenue, which has to come from somewhere, and it undercuts local, I don't know what the rest of that says, maybe merchants? All right, so yes, I was saying this, and let me be very, very clear on this part of things, right? I absolutely agree with you that government has to get the money from somewhere. And so, if they're losing it in one area, you better believe they're going to have to find somewhere else to get it. That's government revenue. Um, that's why I'm not too upset with the cautious increase. So they didn't double it. The suggestion was basically to double it. They did not double it. What they did instead was they went to $800 instead of $1,000. I'm not mad at that. Okay, I can live with that. I think moderation being key here. All right, give me 1 second. So the other thing that you mentioned, all valid points, by the way, and I agree, is that, like I was saying, if you don't fall into that category that you can't afford it, then you can't afford it. What can they do? I'm going to ask you a really, really important question here now, Anthony, sorry. What can they actually do about the cost of things like rent, utilities? They're giving us a duty waiver on that, so that might help you a little bit. Inflated grocery bills. You say that they're inflated, but I wonder how much you know about the grocery industry to actually say that they're inflated. And how many of you have gone grocery shopping overseas? This is the one thing we don't tend to do when we go overseas is go grocery shopping. I would invite you to go and walk in a Publix grocery store and shop as though you were buying something for the week. Like if you were here, and you'd be surprised at how quote unquote inflated grocery store pricing is not anything that is unique to the Cayman Islands at all. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick commercial break.
Families, applying for early childhood education support isn't simple, and it has nothing to do with whether they need it. The early years matter more than any other, which is exactly why access to support should never be out of reach. No internet at home, a parent in difficult circumstances, a child in government care. These are real situations, and no child should pay the price for them. So we've introduced the option for a trusted party to complete the application on a family's behalf. A relative, a social worker, a pastor, someone the family knows and trusts. The parent remains fully informed. Their consent is required, always. This is about making sure no child misses simply because the process felt out of reach. If you work with vulnerable families in a school, a church, or other agency, you can now step in. That child deserves their chance, and now you can help make sure that they get it.
We talk about equal opportunity. Well, this is what it looks like in practice. A child's start in life should never depend on whether the parent could navigate the form. We've removed that barrier. If you need help applying, or you are in a position to help someone else, use the third-party application option. Visit us at moeapplication.gov.ky and begin the process today.
All righty. Somebody please come and get Zeus. I don't know what he wants, but he's starting to bark. Naughty, naughty. Okay, so messages. All right, let's try again. Your connection still says WhatsApp audio connecting. I can't help you if it doesn't connect. And you keep calling, probably doesn't really solve the problem either. I'm just saying, you know? Yeah. Okay. Can't help you. WhatsApp just says connecting. Buenos dias. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Seriously. Hello? You don't need to know how WhatsApp works. Damien says Brent crude, approximately $75 to $76 per barrel as of June. Brent crude. Let's double check. You're saying that the price has gone down? I might as well just keep her on the line because she's not understanding. that I can't hear her because the phone call actually isn't connecting. It's not that I'm not opening it. It's just not connecting. All right, let me see here now. Let me see here. Oh, yes. Let me check the pricing on this. Because I'm not so sure. Some of y'all like to throw these numbers out here. We got to be fact checking. All right. It's reviewing the oil prices. So market reports for June the 24th shows that Brent is at 76.2 US dollars per barrel during Wednesday trading. However, is that the actual oil that we're using? Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, honey child. How are you?
Not bad. How you doing?
I am blessed and highly favored beyond all measures. I'm trying to figure out if Miss Stacey didn't give you no tea this morning, that you were all over the place instead of in one space and on one topic.
We're talking about what's confusing you this morning. We're talking about the cost of shopping, school supplies, shopping for the kids. Everything's interconnected. Why are you so confused?
And you hit the school uniform and then you went off.
Well,
The short.
What you think? Do you think that could be a whole show episode?
If I think that's something constructive that the parents need to hear. People who have girl picnic that's sending them to school needs to hear.
Miss
The parents
Romelia,
are biting.
Did you hear what I just said? Now I know that you don't have any current children, but have you been to a uniform store recently where you've attempted to purchase skirts?
Well, I've been to a uniform store.
No,
I'm
I
always
said,
at Becky's Closet.
I know I said recently. So this is what I'm challenging you to tell me where you can actually purchase the skirts from that are longer. Because I couldn't even find them. I could not even find them in Florida. So where are they?
Try Becky's Closet. Right on Island, Becky's Closet. Becky's, and a lot of times the skirts come proper length and they're cut off short and hemmed up, which is not school policy.
I have struggled to find ones that come down to her knees. I'm telling you, I can't. I found some that were. Well, where the hell is Becky's Closet getting them from? Becky's
I don't know.
Closet that's the used uniform store?
No.
No, this is just regular uniforms?
Yes. She's on the Godfrey Nixon way.
Oh, but that's where I went before. Yeah, that's where I go on Island. So that's the warehouses down
To the back?
Yes. Same one.
And
They have a good
selection.
I'm telling you, they're all the same length.
Okay.
I'm just saying, we'll go there again and look again.
No, I
but when I put them on her, they're not coming down to the knees, honey child. If I can find a mid thigh, that's like plenty. Like I would have to add on to every single skirt. I would have to modify the skirts.
Or shorten the hemming.
There's no hemming.
Hurtful.
I'm telling you, this is the reality of it.
Oh my God. That is hurtful.
What else am I supposed to say about school uniforms, except that it's hard to find ones that are at a decent length? And I'm asking, we got hundreds of people listening to the show right now. So what I would say is, help me out here. Tell me where to find it.
Check in with KK. Oh God, she's the best on shopping over there.
KK. All right.
Mm-hmm. She's the best when it coming on shopping, clothes shopping too. Mm-hmm. That I find thus far. Yeah.
All right, my
She's
darling.
good.
Thanks very much. Anybody
Okay,
else
my
that
darling.
can help with telling me where to find school uniforms that are at a more acceptable length? Good morning, caller. Still connect, honey child. Your connection not working today from the UK. Sorry to tell you, but they're trying to block you or something. No, sir. Okay, I would reel that after the show. Morning, Sandy. Sometimes it can be overwhelming in TJ Maxx and Marshalls as it seems so busy and crowded with how the clothing is displayed. Yes, that is true. But there's a particular logic sometimes with the arrangement of the sections. And you just got to have a little bit of patience and a good eye. Yeah, you got to have a good eye. And there's certain days, excuse me, sir, stop being so rude. No. Don't be rude. Miss Stacy, come for Zeus. He must want to go somewhere. Why are you barking at me? There's certain days when they get new merchandise in, and you don't always know this, but that is the best day to go. Keep calling does not help if it's not connecting. Lord have mercy. What part of this y'all struggling with this morning? You've called about 10 times now, and it's not connecting. Real Deal says that's bad mind syndrome. They were just jealous of her being uptown. Real Deal says diamonds are physical manifestations of what these companies do to third world countries. Destabilize, support armed groups, control the resource, buy and store the resource to control the price. Yep. Jamaican Black people do not like any other race. True, Sandy. Well, I never said that. So let's be clear what I said. And funny enough, those were not Jamaicans that were having an issue with her. It was other Caribbean people. So we had representatives from Jamaica, the Bahamas, like all the different islands. And it was a lot of the other islands that didn't actually like her. It was not her own people. So let's be clear. I never said Jamaicans. And I would not make such a wide sweeping statement about Jamaican Black people either. Because your very slogan speaks to your diversity. And I don't know. I mean, they seem okay with the Indian people. I can only speak from my observations. You know, most of Marlon's friends would be Jamaican Black people, not other Indians. But he's got Indian friends too. Like, he doesn't pick his friends based on what their color is. They're all one people, honey child. Anthony says Shein's ultra low prices come with trade-offs. The quality is hit or miss. Some pieces hold up fine. Others fall apart after a couple washes. But the bigger issue is economics. When fast fashion giants flood the market with $5 tops and $10 tops, local clothing shops and small designers can't match those prices and still cover rent, wages, and materials. Over time, that pushes spending away from community businesses and drains revenue that would otherwise circulate locally through jobs and so on. Anthony, what's her name, spoke to it as well. Lisa Hanna. I think there was a video some months back that I shared where she talked about the downside of this fast fashion industry, where you wear something like once or twice and then you just throw it away because it doesn't even hold up. So yeah, there's something to be said for discarding it that quickly, because then you're just buying into and furthering the plight of these poor people that are in places like Bangladesh, because now they got to make another cheap garment for you to wear twice and throw away. So I like a bargain, to be clear, but I would never buy a top or any kind of clothing that I thought, oh, I'm only going to be able to wear this once or twice. To me, that's wasteful. It's not good for environment. It does have an impact on everyone, including other merchants and whatever. And so, yeah, that's the kind of thing now that some of these, you know, again, Shein happens to be one of the big ones. that their methods and how they manufacture, how they source clothing, and then resell it to consumers. But what consumer doesn't want a $5 top is how they're looking at it. This is where my aunt always said to me, buy something of quality that's going to last. Now, of course, you know where she was coming from. Sir, what's the problem? No, sir. Talking about being rude in the studio today. Hello, get out of my studio, sir. Oh, I'm gonna fix you. Hold on. Coming right up. I know exactly what to do with you. You ready? Let me deal with Zeus.
If I'd known, most crashes don't start with bad intentions. They start with small mistakes. If I'd known, one small habit can change everything. Stay alert, stay ready. Brought to you by Rotary Center.
All right. Had to kick him out of the studio, honey chow. He getting all rude with that barking. So yeah, so this is where as consumers, we can make a difference, right? In the choices that we make. Because the choices that we make are driving up the cost of, the human cost and the environmental cost of these products. Most people don't want to think about it. Well, Mr. Amelia says she not got no money to shop. All right. Okay, recent car thefts. What can I tell you? Anthony says, well, what about the recent car thefts? What can I say about it except certain older model cars are easier to steal. And, ultimately, investing in an alarm system might be worth it. Even the, what's the car thing that we all used to use back in the 90s and early 2000s that you put across your wheel? Get yourself one of those. Put it on your steering wheel, honey child. I know it doesn't look good, but I tell you what, I've never heard of anybody stealing a vehicle that had one of those on it. So, there you go. All right, we got some more comments coming in. Thank you so much for your participation. Zoe says, we wrap our kids in synthetic and plastic clothing, so unhealthy. We need breathable clothes, less chemicals. That's the biggest issue. Romelia says parents need to understand that how they allow their children to leave home to present themselves to school will teach them to turn out for a job looking the same way. Damien sends his birthday greetings to Castro. Someone reminds us that Castro is Donald Trump's biggest fan on Little Cayman. Well, look at that. He needs fans everywhere, I guess. Yep. With a name like Fidel Castro, it's more than ironic that he is Little Cayman's chief Trump supporter, they said, on behalf of the Cayman MAGA. My goodness, bless his little heart. Happy birthday nonetheless. There's a uniform store in Hillsborough Educational Outfitters. I gotta try to remember the name of the one that we went to. But they had all sorts of different uniforms there. So, all right, let's have a look at this comment that has come in. Thank you again for participating. This commenter says the following. I'm tired of hearing people talk as if the government is responsible for the financial position that people put themselves in, and they put that in capital letters. If you're not happy with the way your life is, whose responsibility is it to change it? Not the government. In fact, the government gives people money to upskill themselves. Governments have the responsibility to create an environment where you can flourish. Cayman has that. But it takes initiative and desire on everyone's part to actually succeed. Notice we don't hear anyone complaining that they were accepted to university. I guess that's supposed to be that they weren't accepted to university, but CIG didn't. Oh, that they were accepted to university, but CIG didn't have any money to fund them. Poverty is the enemy of the poor. Ooh. Honey child, you hitting deep with that last statement there. Poverty is the enemy of the poor. Oh my God. I would say lack of education, but I feel where you're coming from on that. Yeah. Deep. Real deep. Yeah, we have to be honest. I was having this discussion this last week with a business owner talking about how some of her people not taking advantage of what's there. Educational opportunities, job opportunities. Oh, they don't want a job that's going to get their nails dirty or where they can't have 6-inch nails and high heels, all this kind of stuff. I'm just like, honey child. So without a doubt, we have got to do better. I agree with that. Someone says, have you tried the uniform shop above number 1? Yep. I'm trying to remember. Oh, that's a quote from the Bible. Must be Proverbs, because Proverbs is good. It has so many salient points and quotes, right? This person says kaboom 3 times. Hold on.
Kaboom!
Amen to that comment. Give that a kaboom. That's got to be Proverbs, honey child. Yes, sir. All right, let me see here. Right, okay. Marshall, he's going to defend Shein. Boy, I've never even shopped at Shein. I'm going to be honest. I've never even gone to their website. I've never looked at anything that they have. Let me adjust my mic again. My camera moving around a little bit today. My apologies. Okay. Ooh. There we go. Probably what I needed to do was just... All right. Lulu says, I joined late. Anybody know if Auntie Sandy discussed her court case with Crazy Carrie, or is Auntie Sandy under a gag order? There is no gag order. The only gag order I would say is something called just sick and tired of foolishness. So there is no gag order, and there's not much more to say about it except the process continues. You know, if I told you guys everything that happened, every message that she sends that doesn't even make any sense, like last week on Friday, she was arguing that I'm not entitled to costs because I had put in a ex parte application. She just doesn't understand anything about law whatsoever. And I'm surprised because she was telling people that she would help them file legal papers. She is ignorant to a lot of things, and I don't mean that in a mean way. Ignorant meaning she just doesn't know. But she's one of those people who suffers from the Dunning-Kruger syndrome, who doesn't know that she doesn't know. So I honestly, Lulu, cannot be bothered with her. Like, things are just not straight in the head. And I become just as crazy as her if I sit here all day trying to explain her behavior. So there's only so much talking about it that I can possibly do. But no, there is no gag order in place. But I think I've made my position very, very clear. The process will continue. I will now get a listing date. So that's the next step, is to get a listing date for the trial. And I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to go all the way to getting a judgment against her, because that's the only way to stop her. Someone sent me something yesterday saying, oh, her page is back. I'm like, yeah, that's no surprise to me. That's what she does. She takes it down. She puts it back. She takes it down when the heat is on and puts it back now that she thinks, I can't keep up with crazy. If I try to keep up with crazy, I become crazy. You understand what I'm saying, Lulu? So it don't make no sense. So we can just keep it moving. The best thing we can do with someone who is looking for attention is to ignore them. Hurtful, as Miss Amelia would say. Oh, Sandy, that's so hurtful. It is hurtful, but it's the truth. Do not give some people too much attention because that's all they want. They don't care if the attention is good, bad, whatever. That just inflates their ego. And there are people listening right now, like, who the heck is Crazy Carrie? You know, oh, let me go and have a look at her 5 views that she's getting. Don't bother. Don't bother with crazy. Abby says, I'd support local, but on a selling $9 Shein tops for $60 locally. Lord, now that's hurtful. So just let down the hem of your skirts and iron it out. My point is, there's not that much of a hem there. I need to show y'all one of these uniform shorts for y'all to understand what I'm talking about. It's ridiculous. Yep, someone says poverty is a mentality, and that's so true. Morning, I agree with the commenter. People are so entitled. I don't see an issue with the increase in the way that they did it. Need to be accountable for their own lives. You can't please people. Don't even try. Waste of time. I have no idea. Lulu wants to know how easy is it to ship from Shein to Cayman. Anybody can answer that. Olivine, good morning, darling. How are you? Clicking that coupon is a psychological hook to carry you to checkout. I don't know, because it doesn't then take you to the checkout page, Abby. You click it and then you keep shopping. So I don't know. Stacy says you should have an Amazon storefront, right? Sandy's favorite things. As Marjorie says, we always give away school uniforms. Yeah, I have some, but I don't know how much use they're going to be to anybody because I think what has happened, because Gianna has worn them for years, they're not looking too good. And there's nothing worse than your kids showing up like the first week of school. And this is where, you know, sometimes there's certain things. I mean, I believe in donating and recycling. And I just gave you a bag of shoes the other day and some of them barely used, you know, so it's like, they're going to look good on your feet, honey child. Like you look at the bottom, you're like, you didn't even wear these shoes. But I do think that certain things you need to be conscious of. So like when kids wear clothing, you know, if it's still in good condition. Otherwise, if their friends can see that school uniforms look a little bit worn out, they got stains on them because kids with pens and all sorts of stuff. So be conscious when you give away stuff. Some people, though, are a little bit picky. Some, you know, you try to give them good quality things that only need like kids' shoes, right? They just need a good scrubbing. Wash those shoelaces. Do they still have the white stuff that you can put on it to bring the whiteness back? And your shoes look brand new because that's leather. They can last a really long time. But some of y'all be like, nope, I ain't taking that. Throw it in the garbage. I'm just like, Lord, have mercy. So yeah, I mean, donate what you can for sure. Good morning. The heat wave is here in the UK. I'm about to pass out. Oh my God. We're going to talk about that in a second. Because some of y'all in the comment section, like, that's not hot. Let's get to it. Sarah says we did grocery shopping a few months back. As son is studying there, prices are not as cheap as many here think. Kaboom. Kaboom! So that's right. But because, again, most of us really don't step foot in a grocery store when we go to the States because, you know, we're eating out. Even if you're there for a week, I do try to get the, you know, the hotel rooms where you can get a little fridge, a little stovetop. But not that I'm intending to use the stovetop, but the fridge comes in handy, the fridge and microwave. Because like a full-size, you know, little mini full-size fridges, because then I can have, if I have leftovers, which a lot of times you do, they don't have to go to waste. I can have it the next day. So I try to get those, what do they call them? Like the sweets, right? But yeah, if you have to shop at the grocery store in the States, you appreciate that Foster's is not trying to steal from y'all like how you think. It's just that you don't have a point of comparison. So yeah. Damien says, maybe I see the logic here. He says, you want 5-inch hemming? they want you to buy. So he's like, maybe they're not putting much hemming in there because they don't want it to last that long. I feel you there. Magic Moon says the caller is correct. The skirts do come at a longer length. I know because I've bought them for my daughter. Well, I'm certainly on a mission to find them. So, Magic, tell me where you got them from, please. Get them made at Super S. Who the heck is Super S? Duke Marion says adopt civilized Finnish mentality. Just wear whatever you have. Not quite sure I'm following that comment, but okay. And Damien says, and you wonder why it's getting hotter and hotter. Good morning, Mark Miller says that's good for those who earn enough money to travel and buy. Need some relief at CUC for those who are struggling here. Well, the most you can get is the duty waiver. That's the only relief you're going to get. And the government is doing that now for a couple months. So don't forget that is already in place. Yes. But, you know, the government can't control what we're actually paying for fuel or what CUC pays for fuel. Because once again, I want to make it very, very clear what CUC pays for fuel is a pass-through expense. They do not mark that up. So they don't make any money on the fuel cost. And when you look at your bill, that is the vast majority of your bill. If I didn't have to pay that, my bill would be 50%, at least 50% less than what it is. So think about that. That's crazy, right? Yes, it is crazy. And that is unfortunately the expense that they have no control over. Pretty wild. Okay, let me see here now. All righty. Konnichiwa. Speaking of CUC, celebrating 60 years. All right, thank you, Mark. Kaboom says, Carib guy. Miss Lucille, your phone was not, I couldn't answer the phone. What is she saying? The heat is on and I need your platform on Friday. I'm going to send the heat in West Bay on Samantha and her man. Huh? Who the hell's Samantha? This may come as a surprise, but I found it much higher quality of clothing in Jamaica than in the USA, but only in the New Kingston area, European clothing brands. Okay. And this is boutique shopping, I'm assuming, Miss Barbara, yes? Gabby says, I'm not going to lie. I love me some Shein, from clothing to furniture. Oh, they have furniture? Wow. All in one place. I bought a bed from there already. Really? I told you I've never been to their website, so I don't even know. They do furniture? Wow. Okay. Gabby says, Lulu, you can use the international site and ship it direct, or use the US site and ship it through a third party. I use Cayman Airways Cargo, but note the international site doesn't have furniture. Miss Sue says the UK is not so cheap either. Super Stitch. Oh, okay. Okay. Morning, Cindy Lee. Ethically, old clothing should be burned. That's what the old time Caymanians used to do. Only very good outfits were passed on. Is burning clothes good for the environment though? Huh. Lizette says to get them made at Super Stitch Pasadora Place. Oh, I don't even want to ask about the price of that. But anyway, okay. Went to a steakhouse over there and spent over $500 USD. Over where? In the States? A steakhouse? Girl. What kind of steak you eating? Super S might be Super Stitch. Oh, yes. Yep, Crazy Carrie's page is back, and her number one fan is right beside her, Darlene McKenzie. She's not commenting here today because she's waiting on KTW. Okay. For two people, would never spend that much in Cayman. STK. What's STK? $500 for a steak dinner? Child, that must be a high-end steak dinner. That's a lot of money. Although my Ocean Prime, I don't think you'd spend that much for two people. It depends on what you ordered in the menu. So maybe. Yeah, I'm telling you, eating out can be very expensive. At least grocery shopping, you can probably get 2 meals out of some food. I don't know. What a hot mess. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you so much. Yes. Ooh, honey child. I am going to let me just see here now. Uh-huh. Okay. Very good. Thank you. That's not just a steak, that's the whole cow. STK must be steak. What is STK? I'm not familiar with this. Is that like a restaurant? What is STK? Y'all need to teach me about these high overpriced steaks now. STK Steakhouse. Oh, it's a chain of STK Steakhouse is a modern steakhouse lounge restaurant chain owned by the One Group, a global hospitality company that owns Kona Grill. Okay. And these are located where? Do they have any in Miami? Let me see. Uh-huh. Let's see. They got Miami Beach. So they have one in Miami Beach. 4.8 stars according to Google reviews. And they're in Europe, the Middle East, Canada, and the United States. Yeah, I think you've gone to the expensive places, Shell. Steak, seafood, and the ultimate vibe dining reservation. So where are they located? In the neighborhood. Girl, what's your average price of steak? They got steak night, $49 for a 3-course meal. That's not bad. They got summer features, happy hour, appetizers for $9, $3, $6, and $9. Yeah. Join us for pre-theater dining. Okay. I guess this reminds me of Morgan Steakhouse, where you can really exceptional taste, exceptional value. So they've got a steak for $49, but that looks like the little itsy bitsy one. So I guess it depends on what steak you got. Now, $50 for a 3-piece dinner, 3-course dinner is not bad. Add drinks for $20. And then I guess you go from there. But girl, that's an expensive date night. Yes, location. So they have them Atlanta, Chicago, Denver, LA, Nashville, New York City. They got 2 in New York. No, 3. Rooftop, downtown, and midtown. Orlando, Salt Lake City, San Francisco, Dubai, London, Washington, Topanga, Toronto, Aventura. Oh, there's one in Aventura. Look at this. Okay, Aventura. Uh-huh. I'm trying to see prices, but why don't they have any prices listed? Girl, you know they're not trying to tell you what things cost on the menu. Mess with them. Okay. Well, there you have it. I'll stick with my Ocean Prime. Must be a golden calf, says Anita. People are paying $500 for steak dinner at Ludicrous. My dad... Oh, sorry. I read at Ludicrous. Is Ludicrous. My dad raised cattle? Cattle. Or cartel. Which one did he raise? Cartel or cattle? Oh, cattle. I was going to say cartel. What the hell was your dad doing? And $500 would have buy half of a cow. Tell me how silly people can be. Kiss my teeth. Same thing. Well, I get if you're a steak person, which I'm not really, but I do get that there's different quality steaks. It's not the same. So your backyard cattle from East End is not exactly the same prime cushy steaks that been getting massages and all kind of stuff. They get treated very, very differently, and they go through a very different process. And also the preparation of the steak, from what I understand, is also quite different. All right. Let's take another break while I can sort out my sinuses, honey chill.
If you're a parent right now, you already know the cost of living has gone up. Rent, childcare, groceries. When the cost of living rises, government must rise to meet it. And we have. Under the revised ECAP policy, our Early Childhood Assistance Program, we've increased funding to keep pace with what families are actually paying today for their children's early education. Who benefits? A father working every hour he can. A single mother doing it alone. A grandparent raising grandchildren they love. Maybe that's you. Up to 235 Caymanian children will benefit directly. And I want every single one of them to have the start they deserve. That is why we're here. If you've applied before and been disappointed, I encourage you to try again. If you've never applied because you assumed you wouldn't qualify, now is the time to find out. And if the funding didn't feel like enough before, it should now. Is your child 3 years old and Caymanian? You may qualify. Visit us at moeapplications.gov.ky and apply for the 2026-2027 academic year.
If I'd known, most crashes don't start with bad intentions. They start with small mistakes. If I'd known, one small habit can change everything. Stay alert, stay ready. Brought to you by Road Resort.
All righty, honey child. Good morning. Hi. Yes, Romelia, open mic today. So we can talk about a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Honey chill. All right. So Parliament was adjourned last night after a brief debate and adjournment, which I did not quite understand. I do want to talk about this boat captain who was fined $7,000 for the illegal stingray interaction at Rum Point. I was a bit surprised at how some of you thought that this was not a big deal. And you don't seem to care as much about the environment as I think all of us know that we should. So let me say this much, yes? The fact that people are being reckless with our stingrays, and, you know, they need to start finding people for the starfish as well, as far as I'm concerned, I think is ridiculous. I think it's despicable. And I, for one, am actually glad that finally someone is being held accountable when it comes to what they're doing in the environment. Stingray City. Wow, it is beautiful, a little bit scary because these stingrays they're majestic, but it's still a mother nature. So part of me is always like, oh, we've never had an incident. I don't want to be that one person, right? So, it's a tourism attraction that brings in, if we had to put a price tag on it, no doubt into the millions of dollars. It is probably one of the biggest selling destinations, like ocean locations on island, that when people are looking at booking, like, okay, we're going to go to the Cayman Islands. What are we going to do while we're there? Right? Stingray City is a big one. Yes, it brings in a lot of money, a lot of visitors. Lots of people like, oh, wow, Stingray City, this looks amazing. This looks beautiful. They go there. They go to Starfish Point. You know, they have the 3 little stops that they go to. What I'm saying is, if we don't send a clear message that our environment matters, that you guys have got to stop messing with the environment, playing with things in the environment, taking conch out of conch season, lobsters out of lobsters. It's like you just don't care. The overfishing, it's just ridiculous, because guess what? When it's gone, it's gone. When you destroy something like Stingray City, the countless boat operators, that is legitimately their number one attraction. They do so many boat tours there. I'm disappointed at how few enforcement officers we have even at that location. They should be there every day watching them, watching how they're handling the stingrays. So we've seen, unfortunately, some stingrays have died. They're not getting as big anymore, right? There's an issue with them, a population issue, like reproduction issue. Our handling of them, even at the level, even if it's done within reason, we have to admit that it is a calculated risk. Yes? And so we could all do a better job of it. But when you have this guy, who is he, Chris Hall? I don't even know who the hell Chris Hall is, but he's an employee of Sea Land Adventure Tours. And he actually went as far as unlawfully interacting with a stingray at the Rum Point Marine Reserve. Now, here's the thing. This is a designated wildlife interaction zone. So this isn't just him at Stingray City, like, oh, I'm going to just play around with the stingray. No, he was in a protected zone. And when I was reading the comments, I was like, you guys are kidding me, right? Well, why on earth are y'all finding people? Who cares about this? Y'all shouldn't be finding people. Blah, blah, blah. Really? Y'all have got to be crazy. Fine his backside, yes. Good job, magistrate. Yeah. Chief Magistrate Anjan Hernandez, good for you. I'm glad you did this. Y'all can get the message one way or the other. Okay, I'm just saying. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That'll teach him. $7,000 is nothing to sneeze at. I have no clue who Chris Hall is, but I bet you he'll think twice again. So when you're in a marine reserve, in a wildlife interaction zone, designated wildlife interaction zone, and you're just being reckless, especially when you work in the water sports industry, and you should know better, as the judge said, or the magistrate rather, that he had a duty to understand and comply with environmental laws designated to protect Cayman's marine resources. I agree with this 1,000%. Right? So thankfully, the DOE enforcement officers observed Hall handling a stingray at Rum Point on February the 12th. The interaction took place outside a legally designated wildlife interaction zone, where feeding and handling of stingrays is permitted under specific conditions. So he claims, this was his defense now, listen to this nonsense. His attorney claims that there was adverse weather conditions and made it difficult for tour operators to access Stingray City that day. And as a result, Sea Land Adventures, the company he works for, had authorized an alternative stop at Rum Point. Well, what gives them the right to do that? No, Bobo. His defense argued that despite having worked for the company for 9 years, that he was following his employer's instructions and was unaware that interacting with a stingray outside of a designated zone was against the law. The court also heard that he did not know the restrictions contained in the company's wildlife interaction permit. Let me stop right there. Now, boat operators, yeah? This is where now they have a responsibility. And we need to put something in place that requires them to send their staff, maybe this is something that DOE can organize, to mandatory training. Let's get it together, Keyman. The few things that we have in the environment, we need to protect fiercely. How about we do mandatory training for all of these people who work on boats? So in order for you to get a work permit, to be a, I don't know what their official title is, stingray handler, boat handler, whatever, you should have to go through a mandatory Department of Environment training, right? Show that you're registered for it, that you show up for it before your full permit is approved. How about something like that? Work out the details. So, of course, his defense is begging not to record a conviction because the potential impact on Hall's work permit status. Work permit holder Hernandez rejected the request, describing the offense as a serious breach of environmental protections. Good for her. Thank you, Chief Magistrate. Hallelujah. Good. Good morning, caller. WhatsApp seems to be having some issues connecting today. She said tour operators and boat captains who regularly bring visitors onto Cayman's waters carry a significant responsibility to safeguard the natural environment. The magistrate warned that prioritizing tourist experiences over or commercial gain over conservation obligations risk harming both marine wildlife and the ecosystems that support them. Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi, morning.
How are you?
Oh gosh, hold on one second because I'm not hearing you quite properly. Give me one. Yeah, it's not coming through the board. Let's see. Yeah, let's try it again. Hello? There we go.
Okay. Actually, I wanted to ask you, have you been told by, what's the name? What used to be Cable Wireless, whether they're having problems again that they cannot sort out or fix?
What used to be? Oh, Flo. What kind of problems? Internet or phone line or?
Well, making calls, taking calls, staying on a call, not being interrupted, not being cut off, and so on. And it's been going on for some time. So I just wondered if you knew anything about it.
No, I haven't really heard anything out of the ordinary, to be honest. I know there was some works being done, I believe, on the Maya 1 cable, and that might still be continuing. So I don't know if that's having an impact on local service at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I heard you say something a short while ago about the House in session last night and why they had adjourned. Well, they had to. They couldn't go on all night. And now, the brain shuts down after a certain amount of time. And it don't make sense to continue. And nobody's making sense. Nobody's retaining anything. So it's, better to shut it down and start afresh today or the next day. So that would be the reason that they the motion for the adjournment.
No, that wasn't what I was questioning. I was questioning why is that something to even debate and argue over? I mean, I agree
Oh.
that they need a break. I mean, they go in like 12 hours. So, but apparently it became a contentious point, and I couldn't quite understand why anybody would be fighting over that.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure either. No, I'm not sure about so many things. Anyway, I also want to say that yesterday I was writing you a list of people that you could ask to donate the TV. That
Oh,
you could-
yes. Yes.
But for some reason, after you had ended the show, all the comments were gone. So I wanted to add A.L. Thompson to that because they sell TVs as well.
I saw A.L. Thompson's, and funny enough, as you were sending the message, I reached out to Alti himself, and he said that's actually not a bad idea. He would speak to Larry, who I think Larry's in charge of those things. But he said the only thing that he was concerned about is they have a limited supplies of TV right now because they had ordered some that were delayed and they're actually stuck in Jamaica at the moment. So he said that was the only thing is he knew they had a short supply. But he thought it was a good idea.
You're only asking for one.
I know.
So why don't you reach out to our good old faithful Wood Foster? I know he's not going to say no. And even if he doesn't have a actual TV to give, I'm sure he'll give you a voucher or something with the value of it. I'm not looking this for myself, I'm just adding fun.
No, it's a
to the
good
World
idea.
Cup, okay?
Yeah.
Believe me, I have my TV. So, yeah, and I know this don't mean anything to you.
Speaking of World Cup, how about that match yesterday?
I'm on a roll this year.
Okay, Portugal must have been one of your teams.
My Knicks won the championship.
Yes.
After 3 years of waiting. So, of course, I was wearing my blue and orange. I don't think it has quite hit me yet that they've actually won, but I guess we're setting at some stage. But yeah, actually, when the tears came, I think it had finally set in. And then, there's women's World Cup cricket going on also.
Oh, wow.
Very well. The Sri Lanka are touring the West Indies. That's men's cricket.
Wow.
And yeah, so my plate is full. Then I've got World Cup football, not soccer, football. And so far my team is
Girl, you must be doing nothing but watching TV right now.
and nursing a cold.
Oh my goodness. Ay.
But yeah, I mean, my all over team, I'm talking about football now, is Brazil. But then
Brazil.
I have a favorite European team, and of course I root for the CONCACAF region, and then I root for the African countries as well because I support the underdogs, and that's who I would like to live long enough to see one day when one of those small nations could win the World Cup.
That would be nice.
Without being one of the football giants, So rather than having one big nation win it 5 times, 6 times, and so on, and, but maybe that too will happen.
Yep.
But anyway, so I wanted to say that if you're looking for questions to quiz about your World Cup giveaway, and it can be more than a TV. By the way, why didn't you get some of those booklets done up with the fixtures, and you could have sold them? No one printed them this World Cup. Nobody came and printed them.
You know who has one that I saw? They did it as like a flyer size. So it's not really a booklet per se, but A.L. Thompson's. A.L. Thompson's actually has some.
Booklet, a proper booklet.
Oh, well, I saw A.L. Thompson did a full sheet with all the teams and stuff like that. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's not what is usually done. And I mean, even in Jamaica, anywhere you walk in, you can pick up one of them. So I can't believe that no one in Cayman actually printed them. If I had known, to be honest, I'd have just done some. and you could have sold them for me. Mhm. Anyway,
Yes.
I was saying, when you're ready for your questions to ask, obviously, I'll give you names of people that you, if you want, that you can just ask them, throw out a question there, throw out a question there, you know. But remember now, that person wouldn't be eligible for the draw.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Very
'Cause
good. World Cup fever. All I know is there was a lot of excitement yesterday because just as I was walking through the door at L. Thompson's, I ran into Mr. Nathan, handyman extraordinaire, and he's like, "Girl, you just missed the excitement inside L. Thompson's. Everybody was hoop because I think Portugal had just scored number 4 or something,
Yeah,
point number 4,
yeah.
and so he's like, "Wow, they're killing it."
Sandra, it's goals,
Go.
number
Oh,
4.
sorry, honey, chill.
Okay, in football, they score goals. Anyway, I got to teach you something at least. No,
Oh
but on a
Lord.
serious note, you know, football is a universal sport of the world. It's universal, right? And it is supposed to be a unifier.
Yes.
And I remember when I worked, because I worked with Europeans, and of course, everybody wanted to take their vacation at that time, and you know that couldn't happen. So it would come down to where the boss would then say, "Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to set up a TV in the boardroom, so that everybody can watch. As long as you don't have clients, you know, you can watch a game." And these are people that don't even believe in you taking a coffee break. So that should tell you what it means. Restaurants will put TVs in so that their customers can see the game when they come in. Because believe it or not, a lot of merchants suffer during World Cup because everyone is watching it, you know. So, like, I went to town on Saturday, and I have to mention that because that's a rare occurrence. And I did go into A.L. Thompson's, and every TV they had in the on. I went to Price Right. It was the same in there. I don't know why Foster's up here don't have TVs anymore. They used to, but they didn't have any on. So, of course, I was rushing home because football was on, and I was missing it. And then I had to go back online to catch myself up. And then, you know, someone was telling me the other day they had gone into, I forgot the name of the restaurant, but they were surprised that, you know, there was a TV installed in there. Of course, this person is not a sports person. So I was explaining to them why that is. I said, these people don't want to lose their customers. So if they can have the TV there, people will come. Some people extend their lunch hours to watch a game. And I would say that this time is probably the most lenient, the most the boss would be lenient on you if you're, you know, taking more than your lunch hour.
Okay.
Not saying that to encourage anyone to do it now. I'm just saying. And so please don't go out there and push a broke down luck and say that I told you to do so. 'Cause I don't want anybody to lose their job. But my team is playing today. This is their last game in this group. And they need to win because I want them to go at the top of the table. And let me also say, Canada will be playing Switzerland today. And so far, Canada has been doing very well. So I'd say go Canada.
All right. I'm going to look at the fixtures now of who's playing. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All righty.
All right. So, yes, Portugal was the runaway team yesterday. Let's have a look now at who is playing today. Thanks for the reminder as well, Miss Brenda, because I almost forgot about the football, about the World Cup. So I appreciate the reminder. Good morning, caller. Hello? Oh, WhatsApp having problems. Even local WhatsApp, it's just not connecting. Try calling direct. Try calling direct if you can, because nobody, it seems like, who was calling on WhatsApp today could get through. Kind of weird, though. All right, let me just have a look here now. Give me 1 second, honey, chill. All right, up for today, we have South Africa and South Korea. Is that today? Hold on. Oh, yes. I think I'm looking at it in reverse order, though. Hold on. Ugh. Be mindful of the times. All right, South Africa and South Korea, that's 9 p.m. Eastern time, which I think for us is 8. There's a slight time difference. We've got Switzerland and Canada at 3 p.m., so that should probably be 2 Cayman time. We have Bosnia, Herzegovina, versus Qatar, and that is at 3 p.m. Oh, they have 2 matches at the same time? Oh, Lord. So who are you going to pick between Switzerland and Canada and then Bosnia? Okay, you might need 2 TVs to watch that one. And then we have Morocco versus Haiti. Oh, wow. But I thought Haiti was kicked out already. Then we've got Scotland and Brazil. Czechia and Mexico. And I think that's it for today. Is that all today? Seems like it. All right. Yes, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with the phone lines, but I have noticed that definitely WhatsApp calls are not working today. So I don't know whose fault that is. Might just be WhatsApp, but it must be because somebody, Lucy was trying to call from the UK and her call wasn't coming through either. So, okay. Let me see what else we got here today. All right. So that's your lineup for today. Quite a few games today. That's how many games? That's one. Hold on. Let me check my eyes here now. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games for today. Wow, that is a lot. Oh Lord. Even though teams are not advancing, they still need to play all games in the group stages. Oh, really? Oh, so they don't get eliminated. Oh, I see. Oh God, what a hot mess. I'm not so sure I'd be happy about that. You're already eliminated. I'd be like, what's the point of playing now? El Rey says, sounds like the company needs to be fined as well. Going back to the Stingray story. Yes. I was going to say that as well. I doubt that he has $7,000, but the court doesn't care what money you have when they determine fines. That's why I love some people who shall remain nameless. When they're being sued, they think, oh, I'm not going to have to pay it because I don't have a job. And as long as I tell the court I don't have a job, I won't get a judgment against me. Really? Glad you think it works that way, but it actually doesn't. Live Happy says, I've never been to Stingray City. Really? It was not even a tourist attraction when I was growing up. It was just a place to clean fish, I heard. I would never go in the water with them to play around. Wow, you make it sound serious, honey Chan. I must tell you, I'm not really that fond of them, but I do think that they're absolutely majestic. I think that they're beautiful, beautiful sea creatures. From the perspective that they're just so different, and touching them barely, because I'm also not really that into it. I'm not going to be trying to, I'll barely touch it. But it is a little bit scary. I feel you a little bit there. But I've gotten some amazing footage. I had I don't have an underwater camera, but I had a casing for my iPhone. And I don't dive or anything like that, honey Jill. So I just stuck the iPhone underneath the water in the waterproof casing. And I got some amazing footage. I'll have to share it with you, of the stingrays, the fish. I mean, what is under the ocean, what is in the ocean is just wow. So we have to do everything in our power to protect our environment. Sorry, WhatsApp calling is not working. Sorry, Mama Sita. You have to call direct. So yeah, what I would say is it is just amazing. So, but yeah, we gotta protect our environment. Like this is not. I'm glad the magistrate took a very firm position as the law should be followed, and that's a lot of money for him. The unfortunate thing is now, I am sure that his employer is going to take that money out of his paycheck every single week. He'll be working 5 years to pay that off. Lesson learned, I guess. But I also agree, who said it here, El Rey, that the company should also be fined. They should have gotten double the fine for not training their staff properly and for telling staff, basically forcing staff to go out there in that zone, right, for them to make money. How much money did his boss make that day? That's what he should be fined. Bet you they learn then. RMR says, in Cayman, we love to condone, justify, and ignore things that should matter. Hallelujah. Marjorie's asking for the P.O. box for Flo. Why? You're going to send them something in the post? Girl, if you want me to never get anything, send it in the post. Yeah. Columbia played very good as well, says Strong Wilt. Question, what number can I call at Flo and speak to a real person? I can't help you with that. Call 911. No, I'm kidding. Don't call 911. Do not call 911 and ask him for Flo. Yes, the captain should be suspended from going out there, and the company should be penalized as well. Yes, Miss Brenda. I agree. Ms. Brenda says, well, she's been here long enough to know the importance of Stingray City. And it's just the environment. The fact that, again, Caymanians are so nonchalant about the environment that it is absolutely shocking. The things that sometimes come out of our mouths, the things that we say about the environment, this don't care attitude, we don't care, blah, blah, blah. It's like, Jesus Christ. Really? Y'all realize when it's all gone, we're the ones who are going to suffer. And look at the trickle-down effect of this destination based on places like Stingray City and Starfish, and y'all keep touching these things, right? When they disappear. During COVID, you saw the replenishment of having that year of people not touching them, how much they came back. They went out there and they kept feeding the stingrays because obviously if there's no food for them, because we've gotten them so spoiled now, but if there's no food for them, they are going to leave and go elsewhere. So they continue to feed them. But the constant interaction, I think that, it's a good idea to understand that tour operators, bus operators who bus them places, taxi drivers, all of you will impact when we have nothing for people to come here for. You think they come in to look at you, the last of the Mohicans? Oh, well, we're an endangered species, so maybe the tourists will want to come and look at us. Most of us are not even that interesting anymore. Hate to say. We're not learning how to weave baskets, how to do anything with thatch roping. Nothing. It's all dying out. So what the hell are the tourists coming here for? Oh, I know. Our beautiful beach. The same Stingray City that's now overcrowded, too many vendors, expats fighting and stabbing each other up, as well as some Caymanians, on our beaches, selling ganja. They probably smelled it too. and selling illegal liquor vending and stuff. That's what the tourists going to come here for? So that they can get on TikTok and Instagram and put up bad reviews about us? Oh, honey, chill. Y'all better know. I smell some good food cooking in my house. What is that? Y'all better know that that is not going to flow, pun intended. All right, get it together, folks. Get it together. All right, there's one of our athletes is coming back today. So if you would like to go to the airport at 11:34 this morning, Owen Roberts International Airport, we have remarkable NCAA champ, Jaden Reed. He is returning home for the summer. And so you can come on out at 11:34. I'm not so sure if I'm actually going to be able to make it. I will do my best. But I actually need to go get my hair done. I know it sounds crazy, but only so many appointments available. And so I didn't get to do my service on Saturday, so I need to get it done. You know, it's important to keep the scalp healthy. Yeah? Okay. And I think that was one of the few appointment times that she had. I think that was the only one today. Let me double check. So yeah, I might have to. Oh no, she said 12:30. Okay, so if he comes in on time, I go there for 11:30, have an hour. Okay, I think maybe I can make it. All right, I'm gonna do my best. All right. Okie dokie. Today's Hump Day Wednesday, yes? All right. Morning, Miss Sue. Okay. Now, let me just briefly talk about the heat, and then we're going to wrap things up. Right now, Europe is going through a heat wave. We did a story on this, and I saw, again, some of you in the comment section talking about the fact that you didn't think 80-something degrees was all that hot. Well, I've never lived in Europe. I've never lived in the UK. But what I understand from people who have and people who do, and even, you know, Marlon's aunt, she's there for 40-something years. Her kids, some of them were born there. To them, heat in the UK is a little bit different than the Caribbean heat. One of the primary reasons seems to be that they do not have the benefit of air conditioning like we do. They certainly don't have no nice ocean and sea breeze coming through, but they don't have air conditioning in their homes. So the homes don't have central AC. So they're lucky if they have a window unit kind of set up. But I'm understanding that this is like considered a luxury. I don't know. Like I said, I don't live there. But the facts are that they are having a heat wave and people are dying as a result of said heat wave. And so whilst you guys can sit down talking about 80-something degrees, 8 or 9 degrees, whatever it is, isn't that bad. What I can tell you is people are actually dying because of it. So don't discard it. It's being, covered in the news all over the place. And it is, something that if you have relatives there, I think you need to try and figure out what the solutions are. Are any of the newer homes, can I ask this question again? This is just me not knowing, right? I don't know. So this is a legit question. The newer homes in the UK, are those in different parts of Europe? Are those actually being built now with air conditioning, or do they just not, is that still just not a thing? Because I can't imagine if you build a new home in London, which I don't know how, do people build new homes in London? I guess. I don't know. Is this available as an option where you can get air conditioning? I would want air conditioning if I were in the market for a new home. But then again, maybe that's not a thing. Maybe these homes are hundreds of years old and they're just not designed for AC at all. And so you got to work with a little fan and whatever else is before you. So just, make sure you're checking in on them. You're making sure that your relatives are okay. They have options. And just stay indoors, but even indoors, my understanding is it's just really, really hot. Miss Daphne Orrit celebrated her 85th birthday yesterday. So if you see her, wish her a happy birthday. I thought that was fantastic. Good news. She looks so good. 85 years old and still looking fresh and young. But yeah, so these heat wave related deaths, folks, are definitely on the rise. Okay. So just be careful. And they say that what's happening too is a lot of people are getting into the water who traditionally wouldn't be getting into the water. And so then there's an increase in water related deaths as a result of the heat wave. Oh my gosh. Miss Brenda said I must reschedule my appointment, honey child. I think it can work out. Yes. Carol says our homes are insulated against the cold. I have lived in hot countries all my life without air conditioning, and trust me, the heat here is brutal. You're in the UK, right, Carol? So if they're insulated against the cold, that's a different kind of insulation against heat. I guess. I'm not sure how that works, Carol. So you got protection against cold, but that doesn't help with the heat. So you find that the heat there is worse than Cayman's heat? Because Cayman gets pretty hot. One of my tenants was saying to me the other day that there was a brief period where the power was out. And they said, even with the power out, this place is nice and cool because of the fact that you tinted the windows. And the window tinting really is important. And I was so glad to hear that, because window tinting isn't necessarily, it's an investment, put it that way. It's not necessarily cheap when you get it done right, the right type of tint and whatever. And the tenant actually said she could feel that the house was still relatively cool. And she's chalking it up to the fact that tint makes a difference. It helps to deflect some of that heat. So we got to do everything that we can because, listen, these extreme weathers is not nice. As Brenda says, even the coastal countries get extremely hot, 100 plus degrees. It's much different than the heat here. And I think that that's the thing too. I think it's, all heats are like relative. The feel like temperature changes when you're on an island versus a concrete jungle, because all of those buildings, even that you're around, the glass buildings, a ton of concrete, all of that draws in heat. That's like a heat magnet. So that makes the entire area a lot hotter. Cayman, I can look out my window right now. It is hot, but I can look at the neighbor's mango tree. Oh, she's got a big, beautiful. That mango tree is one of the most sprawling mango trees I've seen. It is huge. But I can see that there's a good breeze out there because that mango tree is just blowing in the wind. So it's hot, but we still get a little bit of a breeze coming through. I'm not sure you get that in places like London. And I don't know how the countryside is, but, probably not much better. So as Brenda says, insulation traps the heat inside. So that would trap heat inside the house. Yes, because it's trying to do the opposite, right? Insulate it from the cold. So that would explain some of why people are dying in their homes as well. Global warming is real, folks. Lady D says during the summer in the UK, turn the radiator on and putting it on cold makes a difference. Oh, I'm not familiar with these things. I remember when I lived in Tampa, when it used to, I don't feel that Tampa has such extreme cold temperatures anymore. When I was there in February, when was I there? That I was doing my show, Couple times it went like one time it went down in 30s, I think, or 40s or something. Oh my God, it felt so good. But what I swear, when I was growing up in Tampa, we had colder winters than we do now. I don't know if that was just my imagination as a kid, like everything seems to be a bit more, like you have certain memories that are more pronounced. But I remember temperatures going down in the teens. I remember being at USF and being so bundled up, walking to class, and I was freezing to death when I got my little bicycle so I could get around campus quicker and I was cycling. Oh my God, the wind chill on my face when I was cycling. I was like, oh, it's cold. I don't think they get such cold temperatures anymore. I don't know, but listen, waiting at the bus stop as a student when I was a kid, right? The bus stop was right across from me, but sometimes the timing wasn't precise. So you had to go out there and wait for a little minute. But I would try to wait as long as I could and then be like trying to run outside and make sure I didn't miss the school bus. Because when I was in elementary school, that was an hour drive to get to school. My aunt was not driving me if I missed it. So she's like, you better catch that bus. But yeah, those were some cold mornings, honey child. You'd have on gloves and multiple layers, like you do your what do they call it? The John things that you pull up underneath. And then you put on your jeans, and then you do sweaters, and then you do your jacket. Like you did a lot of layering so that throughout the day then, when you got to school, you could kind of take off layers, but have enough layers, like if you still needed to keep the sweater on or the turtleneck or whatever, you could do that. George Bodden says too much metal. Metal stores heat, car tops, rooftops, asphalt, etc. It's only going to get worse. Miss Brenda says, no, it's not your imagination. I remember when we had to pull outer sweaters here in October. Like you said, climate change is real. Yes, long johns, thermal underwear. Yep. Yeah. You put on your undershirts, you had like 5 layers of clothing. But yeah, boy, those were some kind of cold days, Miss Brenda. I remember 20s, 30s, and I remember they were always so worried about the citrus in Florida, because if you don't prepare them properly, then you lose the entire crop. Anywho, all right, honey chillin'. That's all I got for you today. So, climate changes everywhere. The weather changes sometimes more in a day. Cayman, they said, is more humid, and Cayman's humidity is crazy. Okay. Most places don't have AC. It's a miserable heat. The UK heat is at another level, says this person. Oh, God. Yes, sir. Oh, yes, here's one. This person says, each Cayman stingray has a cursory value. Each Cayman stingray. Oh, each Cayman stingray. Okay, my brain had to process that for a second. Each Cayman stingray has a cursory value of $750,000 in direct value to our Caymanian tourism product. It is a relevant item for her current discussion. Somebody sent that through. Wow. Each stingray. How many do we have out there on average, you think? Like I said, they are amazing to watch. Ms. Brenda says humidities increase when the trees keep depleting. That's why we need the trees. They put beneficial things into the atmosphere as well as providing shade and so on. So yes, the more trees we cut down, the more we are unfortunately destroying the environment. Oh my goodness. Listen, I'm not a big environmental, what do I want to call them? What do the other people on the other side call them? Tree huggers, right? I'm not here to say that I'm a tree hugger, but what I'm here to tell you is the environment matters. And we should all care, right? And try to do just a little part to protect it. So I can't, DOE, Department of Environment, They need to have a show on CMR TV. Come on through, Honey Child. Educating all of us, because there's so much that we do not know and understand about the environment. And it's critical, because if we don't know, the average person isn't going to care, right? It comes down to ignorance, really. They're not going to care. They're not going to understand it. And then what? Oh my God. It's just crazy. So, educate us, governments, departments, and let's do better. All right, let me see here now. Oh, bit of good health news, and then we can end it. Did you guys see that cervical cancer deaths fall to 0 in young women given the HPV vaccine? So this was news coming out of England. This is good news, because that was the whole point of that vaccine. And it's amazing and it's wonderful to see that it actually works. Fantastic. I'm happy to see it. All right, beautiful folks. Thank you, thank you, thank you all so much. Have an amazing Wednesday afternoon. Like I said, one of our athletes is returning today, so I'll be there now that I've made sure my schedule was okay. And we'll show that footage a little bit later on today. All right. Businesses can start by going paperless and avoid where they can. Yes. Lots of things that we can do to help the environment along. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Minister Anglin will be joining us tomorrow morning, so we can talk about some things related to education. So get your questions ready. I know we do have one question around the funding for these private schools, so we're going to ask him that question. And then anything else you want to ask, if you want to send it in advance, please do so. Otherwise, obviously, tune in tomorrow, and you can ask him your questions directly. Have a fantastic day. Go and watch some football. But like Miss Brenda said, still do your work. All right.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.